Alright, it's about time I get this vlog started here. Now that we're cruising up on the highway, motherfucking highway! You wanna get over? Go on, get over. I saw you looking. Alright, so where are we at here? The commute as usual. I have a first comment before I really get going on this vlog, and that is, the GoPro battery sucks. It is just terrible. I went for a little adventure down to the South Bay, it's called, of San Diego, way down on the south side, right by the Mexican border. And the battery made it down, but not back up. It made it about halfway through the trip, and this adventure took like 3 hours. It just died right away. I don't know why. Maybe it wasn't fully charged when I started, but whatever. I know I'm preaching to the choir. For anybody out there who has a GoPro, I don't know if they have battery extensions or not. For most devices nowadays, they do have an extended battery. You just pay extra for it. It's like bigger. You get like a new back, and that's it. But man, battery life sucks, and it ruined my vlog. I was gonna post a vlog up for you guys of this adventure down to right on the border by Mexico. Hell, while we were down there, we should have gone to the border, but we didn't. But it doesn't matter. Even if we did, I wouldn't have got it on film. I got like 40 minutes of film, and then it died. I probably left it on when we went in a building or something. Alright, that's not important. Let's get down to today's vlog. Today's vlog is about the Sena 20S. I guess, more importantly, it's about my new toys, because it's more than one new toy. But it's mainly about the Sena 20S, which, first reaction, amazing. My second toy that I got, which is part 2, is this mount from Rammount right here, cell phone mount on the front, which I don't have my phone in right now because I'm on my morning commute and I'm not going to use it. But it's way cool. I did not film the install of either the Sena 20S or the Rammount, but I gotta say, they're both pretty solid devices. This stem mount Rammount is the one I got. It goes down in your stem, and then it's a piece of rubber, and when you tighten it in there, it squeezes itself in, and it's real solid. It's not going anywhere. And I put my phone in there and haven't had any issues with slipping. The phone stays right where it's supposed to be. It's got these little rubber grommets on it. I should probably pay attention to the road as I approach the traffic. Anyway, it's got those rubber grommets, and the phone didn't go anywhere. And I was, 90 on the highway, lots of vibration from the bike, and nothing, no problems at all. So that's really nice. I got that as sort of as a compliment to the 20S, because listening to your phone is one thing, but if I need to do certain things, I don't like to have the voice activated. I've always had problems with voice activated devices. My phone isn't so good. It's an older one. I don't have an iPhone. I have a Galaxy. So it's a little bit on the older side, and the voice commands don't always work so well. I don't have like Siri who can look something up and tell me the answer. So what I instead did was opted for the Rammount, so I can pop it up here, and I'll pop my phone up here when I need it, and I can do navigation and other things. Now, I did get the 20S about a week ago, and I've been testing it ever since. Before I did this vlog, I considered doing it on a first ride, but I wasn't really gonna, over the days of the last week, I've used the Sena for several things, but not everything it can do, and not everything yet, even now. But I've used most of the important stuff that I'm definitely gonna use. And I gotta say, 1 week, and I can no longer imagine riding without it. It's like, it has really changed the way I ride, just in the things that it can do. So, first of all, I've got to point out, the thing I'm going to use it for the most is probably the radio. And for those of you that ride, especially a long distance in the mornings or in the evenings or whenever, like I do, that even though it's fun being on two wheels, it can get a little boring. It's sort of, especially if you're commuting, you just sit here, ride. Now the lane splitting keeps me a little bit engaged. If I was just cruising in traffic, I'd probably just get like way zoned out and out of it. Just like you do in a car. So maybe the radio is not the best thing. I don't want to get too zoned out. I don't want to be focusing on the radio and not focusing on the road, because I do lane split. But that's something I'm going to actively be working on. And again, that's just something, you got to not fall into that trap. So as long as you're focused on it, it's not a huge deal. So anyway, the radio works great. I haven't had any issues with connection or skip like fuzziness or anything. It has just as good a service as my car. So it's really nice. Oh my god, I'm almost already there. This vlog barely got underway. So yeah, radio's real nice. That's number one. Number two, the next thing I tested was the calling capability. So I had, I called my wife and then I started riding, and then I had her call me back as soon as we hung up. And that was all. I didn't have the Rammount yet, actually. I got this a couple days later. I did not have it at that point. So my phone was completely in my pocket. I couldn't even see it. I just did everything with voice, and on the Sena you can actually tap it. It doesn't have to be all voice. So I did that, and it worked really well. There's a button for the phone and everything. And that worked really well. I gotta say, it sounded like better than when I hold the phone to my ear. Now when I'm making calls, I'm like, yeah, I wish I had my helmet. It has, the Sena's so much better than the phone. I don't like holding the phone to my head and all that stuff. This is completely hands-free and it's amazing. So the phone works really well. That's the bottom line there. The next thing I tested was the group intercom, which is, probably the main point, and I tested it last of the things I've tested. And that also is freaking amazing. So the ability to take calls, awesome. Listen to the radio, awesome. But the group intercom really set apart my last ride. It was one of the best rides I've ever done. That wasn't the one I was talking about earlier to South Bay. This was to breakfast the other day. I went with a friend, and it was less than a 10-minute ride, and it was already freaking amazing. We were just giving each other heads up on things we were at a stop sign, and this crossroad didn't have a stop sign. And there were a bunch of cars, so you couldn't see very far, and I looked, and there were no cars, so I started going. And as soon as I started going, I looked, and boom, car was right there. And I was like, to my friend, I was just like, oh, there's a car coming on the right, you might want to hurry up. He looked over, saw it, laid down some throttle, and boom, he was out there, in safety. But if I hadn't said that, he might have just accelerated more slowly. And point is, not that, we didn't avoid any accidents first time, but it was just nice. It was a nice, safety feature. I felt, believe it or not, safer. Everyone I talked to said, isn't that going to be distracting? Aren't you going to get distracted by that? Seriously, girl, give me some room. And I said, it's just something that you got to be careful of. It's just like having a passenger. Are you distracted when there's a passenger? The answer to that is probably yes. People are talking to their passengers and not driving. So you just got to be careful. And on a motorcycle, you better figure out, how to do it safely. Otherwise, you're taking major risk. So basically, we used it the best way we possibly could. I was focused mostly on driving and talking with second, but it kept it entertaining. More than just safety, it kept us super entertained. We tested out the limits of the range a little bit. I got at least a couple hundred yards away. Not the, 900 meters that Sena claims. We never tested that. Well, we did once, and it's not even close. But that was before we were on the highway. When we were on the highway, we got at least 200 yards apart and had no connection trouble whatsoever. I can't even say how far I was out there in the traffic here, but he was tiny in my rearview mirror and just no problem. Didn't miss anything. And I was making fun of him for it. I was like, so are you gonna just hang out way back there? Are you gonna catch up to me or what? It kept us entertained. So I've got to say, the Sena is freaking awesome. It sounded amazing. Connection incredible. Had the ability to take calls and listen to the radio, and all of that is absolutely just gorgeously beautiful. The downsides, I would say, like I was just complaining about the GoPro, the Hero 2, another complaint about the GoPro Hero 2, I guess, is that it doesn't have the Bluetooth capability. So what I really want to do is route the audio through the Sena, because they have noise canceling software and other stuff that's really good. Real good. Really, really good through that microphone. And it's probably better than my current microphone. As, at highway speed right now, I bet there's a lot of wind noise, and there's just not much wind noise at all. Like when I did that test call with my wife, I was doing 80 on the highway, and she couldn't tell at all. She said no wind noise, no nothing. I had to rev the bike up real loud for her to even hear the bike, much less the wind. So I want to route the audio through the GoPro audio through the Sena, and I can't do that, which really sucks. So that's, I guess, my only complaint. And if that's your biggest complaint, excuse me, then that has nothing to do with the Sena, right? That's my GoPro issue. So that's an issue outside of it, The mere fact that it has the ability to route the audio is freaking awesome. So after all that gabbing and telling you about the Sena, I gotta say, if you're gonna get it, if you're thinking about it, it is gonna change the way you ride, period, hands down. It's amazing, and I highly advise, after only 1 week of use, now give it another week, and if I'm riding distracted and end up in an accident, then maybe you can take that into advisement as well, which hopefully I won't do. But the point is, the long and the short of it is, it's freaking awesome. I've had it for a week and I already can't imagine riding without it. I just can't fathom a day not having it already, because it's so freaking cool. Taking calls. My wife always complains that, when you go for your rides, I can't talk to you. I call and you don't answer. Yeah, that's because I'm riding. Well, now that's no longer a problem. And if I get a little bored, turn on the radio. And if I have a friend with me, turn on the headset and we can talk. It's really amazing so far. And I can't speak highly enough of it. And it works immaculately, exactly as advertised. And it's no troubles, no nothing. I upgraded the firmware first thing out of the box like they said to do, like I've heard that you should do. And it actually helped a lot, because the first thing we opened it up, started playing with it. And then I went to change the firmware later and it already got better, like instantly. So that's my quick review of a few of the features that I have tested. And I have not tested the whole thing. It can do several other pretty awesome things. I have not pushed the limits of the voice activation and all that stuff, but I have played with it and it's amazing, and I advise you go get one. And I got the 20S. I hear the SMH10 is good. I don't really know which is best. Assume it's the 20S because it's a newer one. For whatever your purposes are. The problem with the 20S is it's super expensive. So if you can afford it, do it, because I hear it's better, but I can't speak to that personally, which is better. So I will say that the 20S is amazing. So, all right, that's all I got time for. I gotta go. You guys take it easy, and I'll catch you on the YouTubes.